it's not just, just marketing NFTs, it's also just I understand NFTs myself, so I actually want to profit from it.
It's a pleasure to have you here with us at our office at Humans.ai.
Thank you for having me.
I just wanted to get the people to know a bit more about yourself, so maybe you could tell us what you do and what's your expertise in the NFT and crypto industry.
Of course. So I help NFT projects all the way from starting out, all the way to sell out, and then also increasing their floor price. I worked with 400 plus NFT projects. Some of them hit top 40 on the OpenSea. We had one that hit number one trending on OpenSea, number one trending on IC.tools. I've seen a lot more projects than the ones I've worked with. So it's always just great seeing how this whole industry is evolving as well.
We think that the days when NFTs were highly tradable standard JPEGs are coming to an end. What do you think about this thesis?
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about for a new project coming out because right now we have 500 new projects coming out every day. Last year, back in November, there was a point when still a lot of people didn't know what NFTs are, but the search inquiries for NFTs surpassed cryptocurrencies. So a lot of people, especially in e-com or people who were trading, they thought about if they could have their own collection. And then they didn't really have a vision for what they were going to do past that first sellout. So they all jumped in because they wanted to use that opportunity. The timing was right, and the market sentiment was also just very happy, very excited about new things coming in, and they all wanted to buy. So what happened was all these projects came out and I remember one of them specifically when we sold that in 7 minutes. We said something about we're going to do something in the Metaverse.
Future utility.
Exactly. But nothing concrete where you could actually rely on this collection being an investment for you. But even with that, you would still buy it, right? And that has changed. So we no longer get that. So we have the NFT folks that they are very jaded because they bought into so many projects where they didn't really deliver on their promises because, first of all, they didn't know what they're going to deliver to begin with. And the ones that they did know, they didn't really think it through because, again, timing, and they really wanted to get in there. And then the ones that they just rug pulled also left a really bad impression on the NFT space. So we have all these NFT folks that they're very skeptic right now. We're on the opposite side of the spectrum. From too trusting, now is very skeptic. The art has to be great. The utility has to be great. Utility has to be fleshed out. It's just becoming like startups, right? So startups, when they can't just come out and say, hey, we're going to do something cool. You need to actually show, you need to get investors, you need to actually show some traction, have a pitch, have a deck for it, and explain everything in details. We're going in that direction. So NFTs have become actual businesses versus what it was in the past, just something cool that people were getting into. Now that's changing. And that's actually really good for this space.
Are we witnessing right now an epochal momentum in the blockchain universe? What's next? What do you think can be done with the NFT status quo?
Yeah, so obviously right now we're in the bear market as well. So there is a lot of room for innovation. The biggest thing I think is happening right now is the innovation. So we've seen it all so far. So whether it be with utility, so if it's P2E, if it's a staking, if it's DAO, we've seen it all, right? And so now there's room for something new. So if some company comes out and just says, hey, here's some cool utility we have. If you own this NFT, you're going to be able to do X, Y, Z, which you've never done before. So that's going to be able to stand out in this crowded market. So there's that. And then also, because it's a bear market, a lot of these companies, they were holding cryptos and they lost a lot of their funding. Now they need to actually, first of all, be able to survive through this bear market, but also look for investors. They need to learn how to get into the investing side of things as well. And then for the ones that they have found investors, but it's maybe not so much money, they need to be able to learn how to actually make a huge impact. Majority of projects on Ethereum and Solana right now, they sell somewhere around 100 to 600 NFTs and no more than that. I think one other aspect of NFTs that's also really on the rise is the importance of credibility, authenticity. So having a blue check mark on Twitter, having a blue check mark on the OpenSea, on the contract of OpenSea, having a blue check mark on even like whitelist. There's some companies that provide like whitelisting services. Everything's gonna have a check mark, right? So that is gonna be a really big thing. So I think that's also a direction we're heading at as well.
Great. So basically, the status quo of the NFT industry from moment to moment is non-fungible in itself because it's continually changing and evolving from the marketing strategy, from the approach to the utility. Every aspect of the NFT industry is changing because it's still a new field.
Absolutely. I have this running joke with people in the space where we say like if we take it one day off, we're gonna be 8 years behind. Just because things are changing so fast. And that's really happening. We're literally watching that ourselves right now.
What do you think about using generative AI for NFTs? Are you aware of this trend of using AI tech within blockchain related projects?
It's interesting because the AI driven art has all the features of an art. So for example, when you look at artwork, you're thinking about, is it actually provoking emotion? Is it done by a human? Is it actually looking something that like people would have different sentiments? Like let's say it would create a subjective experience for people. So there are a lot of elements of an actual art where you can still see it with the ones that are created by the AI. But I think the difference is going to be where how much human interaction is going to be in the creation of the art. So is it the purely AI creating things, or is it going to be also supervised and there's going to be interventions by human to actually make sure the quality, the specific features or little details are done in a specific way, right? So if you think about a collection size of 5,000, 10,000, so the speed is something the AI could actually solve. How much they rely on it, I think that's the area where they should really think about. So the artist will still has its own, gets a stamp on the art, right? So it has its own features that a human would create versus just purely done by AI.
The traditional art world has notoriously become an exclusive playground for the rich. But this is incompatible with the upcoming decentralized Web 3.0 era. How do you think NFTs are going to play this unique opportunity?
That's interesting because that's very life-changing for people, and I think NFTs has provided that for a lot of people already. And now, the challenge with that is that was the case for a lot of people just because it was new, and then we were making a lot of profit over trading NFTs, for example. As more and more projects coming out, there's more regulations going to come out as well, and then also already we've seen it. The market has been saturated where the profits are not as much as it used to be in the past. So what now people need to do is to join these, let's say, alpha groups to be able to get insider information on what project's going to do well. But to be able to be part of those alpha groups, you need to actually have these, like, let's say, blue chip collections, which are not cheap, right? So there's definitely that gap right now where there's still a lot of room for people coming into the Web3 space just because it's wide open. There's still there's not a lot of information about it for them to come in and actually be able to create a source of income where they weren't able to do it in the Web2. Like, so maybe working and providing a specific service or skill in the Metaverse, that's obviously something that's wide open, right? So now people are able to do that. Now, for the artists, let's say musicians, painters, so on and so forth, with the NFTs, now they can make a lot more money than they were able to do in the past. So the notion of starving artists changed for the better because now even younger generations, they can get into NFTs. They don't need a lot of information. All they have to do is just get into some YouTube channels.
They just do your own research and
Exactly. And they can actually keep up with the market versus if you think about the traditional investing side of things. So investing was something for people who were wealthy, people who had a lot of money. It was almost something that out of reach. Versus now, investing, the concept of investing is not something as out of reach.
What's the future of NFTs? What's the next big thing?
I think NFTs with the utilities and like what they provide is obviously really big. You know, what we already have and people like understanding, okay, the utilities have to be fleshed out, it has to be very clear, it has to actually be purposeful and sustainable as well. So that's the other thing. But now we're seeing people actually thinking this through. They're understanding like what they're gonna do in the future, so on and so on. So that's one side of the whole NFT thing. Now the other side is the public companies, all sorts of companies that they never been into NFTs, but they already have a service that they can use it to roll out NFTs. Now with services like this and companies coming up with new services, we're gonna see first of all newbies, people who never knew anything about cryptos or NFTs coming into the space, but also maybe a change in the distribution of the male versus female, right? So that's also going to be a new thing as well. I don't know if you looked into this, but a bunch of SaaS companies, so software as a service companies, they've actually experimented with having NFTs as either an entry point to buying their software, or maybe just by holding the NFT, you would get access to their software. When they calculated, there's a YouTube video, literally calculated their income after introducing NFTs, and they made way more money. So what that means is now, obviously, we have a lot of tech companies, a lot of investors that are investing in tech companies. Now they're going to realize this and say, okay, right now when I market NFT projects, we start with the people who know about NFTs, right? So we do, for example, Twitter advertising, and on Twitter, most of the people, they already know what NFTs are. But if you only could go to any person on the planet Earth and just say, hey, here's just this new collection that came out, we would have a lot more distribution, we would have a lot more market share that we could actually impact. We don't have that yet, but when the businesses come in, which will happen very soon, then that will change.
And actually brands are going into the direction of brand DAOs, so the consumers will have the choice to decide the brand's future.
100%. And we've seen that in gaming as well. And they've tried it a lot to see what happens. Obviously, this is a very interesting concept because at the very beginning, because people never had this experience before to be able to decide for themselves, so it's going to be chaotic. But as time progresses, people are going to get used to this new concept of them having a lot more choices than they used to have. And I think that will create a lot better services, a lot better products, a lot better experience for people.
And people will have to take responsibility for their choices.
100%.
I don't think
decentralized.
Exactly. Are we ready for that though?
At the beginning, no, but then we're gonna get ready for it, eventually. At the beginning, like I said, it will be chaotic. Right now, so for example, myself, I lost probably about 100K or so worth of NFTs in like 2-3 minutes when I made a mistake connecting my wallet to something. If my money was in a bank, that would have never happened. Or even if it did happen, all I had to do was just call the bank, reverse the money instantly almost, credit it back into my account. We don't have that in the Web3, in the decentralized world.
We have instant consequences.
Exactly, instant consequences and more responsibility. People sometimes get afraid because they've never had the opportunity, they've never had the freedom to do things on their own, but now we have it.
We are launching a new NFT project. It's called Talkens NFT, and basically you take a generic NFT and you combine it with an AI serum, and it creates an AI NFT. Basically, we bring NFTs to life by adding lip movement, and of course, they have the ability to speak. And I would like to show you one such AI NFT.
Cool, that's exciting.
I prepared a special message for you.
Okay.
Hello, Arvin. Welcome to Humans. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
That's very cool.
What do you think about it?
That's awesome, and I think when in the past all we had was just like looking at these images or maybe even sometimes forgetting what they look like. Now it's just the interactive part of things.
What we are doing using AI is generating in real time your NFT talking, and you can just type whatever message you want, and in a matter of seconds it delivers that message.
Yeah, so obviously it's really cool because the interactive side is missing, right? So like what you guys also provide is just being able to interact with your own NFTs, which is something really cool. And then just like how Web 2 and maybe actually even Web 1 was just read only, and then Web 2 came about, and now you could actually interact. So what you guys are also providing is the ability to have a say, have a new feelings, new experience with just your own NFTs that were just a JPEG in the past.
Well, Arvin, it was a pleasure to have you as our guest.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.